Hello everyone, my name is Carolina and I'm your instructor for today. We're going to continue our lessons about Microsoft Excel. Our lesson for today is about how to create a pivot table and a chart. I would like to encourage you to take notes or photos because at the end of this lesson we're going to have a multiple choice questions. It will be easy, but it's important to have notes to answer correctly. So, probably have faced something like this. Your boss asking you to make a presentation. And then you think, where do I start? After all, you just can't copy and paste a lot of numbers into a PowerPoint, right? So because of this, it's so important to learn about pivot table and a chart because it makes your presentation more interesting. And then you can think again, but I don't know anything about Excel. Don't worry about it, because this lesson is for beginners. And if you have a knowledge about Excel, this lesson is for you as well, because you can learn something new or a different way to do things that you already know. Today, we're gonna use a kind of situation that is pretty common in a job environment. In this case, my boss sent to me an email and asked to me make a presentation for our directors. In this presentation, I need to show to them the quantity of training hours made by location and by year since 2019. In this document, he also sent to me a document with the data extracted for our system. Let's take a look at the data that I received from my boss. Here we have name of employee, job position, department, location, and years from 2022 to 2019. Just remember, we need to prepare a presentation on the amount of training hours per location and also per year. We are going to use a pivot table function. The pivot table is a tool on Excel that compiles information using one or more thresholds, totally applicable in our case. So the first step is to select all the information here. To do this, you can click with the left button of your mouse on the first row and the first column, letter A. Then you will drag until the last line and the last column. Okay, if it's gray, means that you have selected. Okay, and now we're gonna have our second step to make our pivot table. The second step is click on Insert here, and then we're gonna see the first icon called Pivot Table. So our third step is click on Pivot Table. Then we're gonna have this box called Create Pivot Table. We don't need to change anything here at all. After all, we are beginners, right? So just press it OK. This is our first step. Wow, now we have another and new sheet to create our pivot table. As you can see, we have on the right side these pivot table fields, okay? And we're gonna organize the information that we need to create our pivot table. So we need quantity of hours about location and about year. So our fifth step is organize this kind of information. So first, I'm gonna press location, and I'm gonna drag this information for rows. As you can see on the left side, we already have the beginning of our pivot table. We have by each row the name or the location, okay? And now we're gonna organize the years. So the first one is 2022. We're gonna select and drag this year to values, okay? We do the same for each year. Select and drag to values. Select and drag to values. Select and drag to values. And there we are. We have our pivot table. But let's think about our presentation. It's a kind of boring present like a table, right? Because of this, I'm gonna teach you how to create a chart as well. So the first step to create a chart is just select all the information from pivot table. Then you can click on Insert. This is our second step. And then you go to the right side until find the short part here. We gonna press column. That is very popular for presentation. And here you can see a lot of types of columns. I'm gonna choose the 3D column. Just click on and there we are. We have our chart. As you can see, it's better to understand the quantity of hours on the left, the cities on the line, and by colors we have the year. So easy, right? Are you ready for the multiple choice questions? I'm gonna read with you the question, and also I give to you some seconds to think about the answer. Don't worry about because I also share with you the correct answer in the end. Okay? Let's start. Well, what is the first step to create a pivot table? The first step is select all the data from the table. And what is the second and third steps in creating a pivot table? Think about it. Select Insert and click on the pivot table icon. This is our second and third step. And what is the fourth step in creating a pivot table? Click on OK in the Create Pivot Table box. Remember, we don't need to change anything in this phase. We are almost done, so what is the fifth step in Create a Pivot Table? The correct answer is letter A. Arrange the information in the table on the right side, named Pivot Table Fields. Select and drag locations to row, select and drag year to value. And our last question is, what are the steps to create a chart from the pivot table? Select all information from pivot table, select Insert, search for columns, and select the first 3D option in our case. We have come to the end of another lesson. Today we learned how to create a pivot table and a chart, and now you are ready to create more interesting presentation from data. Don't forget and keep practicing. I'm sharing the link and also a QR code of the same file that I use in this presentation, so you can practice by yourself. If you have any doubt, you can watch this lesson again or send me an email. That's all for today. I hope to see you again in our next class.